Okay, so now we're working on the invasive species part of this project. So we're going to go to the directions page, and it's very similar directions to the last time. First thing it says is go to the following website, so I will do so. And I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to pull the website out into a new window so that I can be looking at both the website and the directions at the same time. The first thing it says is scroll down to where you see 4 pictures. So I'm going to scroll down, and here I have 4 pictures. Now the word terrestrial means land. So these are species that live on land. There's land plants, land vertebrates, land insects, and land diseases. Now if I keep scrolling, I'll find aquatic. Aquatic means water, so these are water plants and animals. You can choose either. I'm going to choose terrestrial vertebrates because I like snakes, so I'm going to click on that. It says choose any category, so I chose terrestrial vertebrates. Then I'm going to scroll down again until I see pictures of different species. So I'm scrolling and I see 4 pictures of different species. I'm going to pick any 2 of the 4 to focus on. So I'm going to start with the Burmese python. And I need to look for this information, a picture, where it's originally from, so where it is native to, where it came from, where it invaded, so where it ended up, and what problems it created for the ecosystem that it invaded. And if I go to the next slide, I'm again going to have a template that I can type into. Again, anywhere with asterisks, that's where I'm going to type something. So type species name here. So my species name is Burmese python, so I'm going to type Burmese python. Again, insert a picture, so I can either use this picture, or again, I can go to insert, image, search the web, and then I'm going to search Burmese python. And I'll pick this one to insert. And there we go. I have my nice little picture of my species. Now, where it is from and where it invaded. If I scroll down on this page, it's going to tell me it's native to Southeast Asia. So that's where the species is from. That's the very first bullet point that I have here. I'm going to type it right in. Southeast Asia. Where it invaded. Well, let's see. It says it was first introduced in 2000, and it was introduced into Florida. Current US distribution is South Florida. If I wanted to look at different websites, I could look at maps, but this tells me already that it's in Florida. So I can just write that here. And I'm even going to write it was introduced in the year 2000. And why it was introduced. So it says means of introduction, that would be why. It was originally imported to the US for the pet trade. And then what happened with Burmese pythons is that all of these people had these 6-foot pythons and realized they couldn't take care of them in their home. And what they did is that a lot of people would release them into the Everglades. And because the Burmese pythons have no natural predators in the Everglades because they're not native there, there was no predators killing them. So they were able to eat whatever they wanted. They were able to keep growing and reproducing their population, and there was nothing there to stop them. So now the Burmese pythons have completely taken over the Everglades. So I'm going to write they were introduced for the pet trade and then released into the wild. So of course you can imagine that would create some problems. So I'm going to see if I can find 3 problems. If we look at where it says underneath means of introduction, we have impact. Impact means the problems that it created. So we can see that it preys on native species. Some of the native species that it preys on are endangered. So that means a species that is already low in numbers is now being preyed on. So that's the first thing that I'm going to write. Preys on endangered native species. And then if I keep reading, it says that it may also compete with threatened native species. So it competes with Threatened is like a step above endangered, so that it means it's really low in numbers and it might become endangered, but it's not at that point yet. So species that were already there first, like an indigo snake, that was there first, and maybe it's competing for food. Maybe it's competing for space. It's competing for those necessary resources, and the native species that normally use it aren't able to now because the Burmese python have come in and taken over. So see if you can find 3 problems. You can maybe Google it or see if you can come up with something else here. But that's what you need for this project. And then you need to do it for 2 different species. So I did it for the Burmese python for one, and then I'd probably go ahead and do it for the brown tree snake for my next one because I really like snakes. But you can choose any 2 that you want. That's what you need, where it's native to, where it was introduced, where it is, and the impact. Please remember not to copy and paste any information. It should be typed in your own words as much as possible.